This is one of those moments where you stop, look at what the Red Sox are doing, and you're like, okay, something is shifting here. Because in the span of what feels like no time at all, Boston quietly closed one door that some fans didn't even realize was still open, while at the exact same time kicking open another one that could seriously change how this team looks on the field this season. And that's what makes today interesting. On the surface, it might feel like just routine roster movement, the kind of stuff that flies under the radar in February. But if you really follow this team every single day like we do, you know these moves are never random. One decision says a lot about what the Red Sox are done waiting on, and the other says exactly what kind of baseball they're trying to play going forward. It matters because this isn't just about depth, it's about direction, it's about trust, and it's about whether the front office is finally aligning the roster with the way they say they want to win. So, yeah, there are two separate things that happened here. Different positions, different situations, but they're absolutely connected by the same moment in time for this team. And once you see the full picture, it really tells you where the Red Sox are headed next. Before we get into it, real quick, if you're a real Red Sox fan, hit that like button. Consider subscribing. This channel is brand new. We're chasing our first 1,000 subscribers, and this is a space for fans who actually care, actually watch, and actually feel this team. All right, now let's actually talk about the first move. Because even though it's not flashy, it says a lot about how the Red Sox viewed their own depth. So the name here is Seby Zavala, and honestly, if you forgot he was even in the organization, you're not alone. Zavala came to Boston back in November of 2024 on a minor league deal, a quiet depth signing, the kind you make just in case things get messy behind the plate. And guess what? Things did get messy. Last season, the Red Sox had real attrition at catcher, injuries, inconsistency, uncertainty. And when Connor Wong went down with that finger injury early in the year, there was a brief moment where you thought, okay, maybe this is when Zavala gets his shot. But the timing couldn't have been worse. Zavala suffered an oblique strain in April, right when that opportunity cracked open. By the time he got healthy again, the door had already slammed shut. Carlos Narvaez grabbed the starting job and never really let go. And here's the key part. Zavala didn't exactly force the issue. In 67 games with AAA Worcester, he hit just 165. That's not a slump. That's a red flag. 8 home runs sound fine until you look at the full line. 35 hits total, a .614 OPS. That's just not major league depth you can trust. And the Red Sox showed you exactly how they felt. As the summer went on, instead of giving Zavala a look, they went outside the organization and brought in Ali Sanchez to fill that third catcher role. That's the loudest message you can send without saying a word. When you zoom out, it makes even more sense. Boston's AAA catching carousel last season included Blake Sabol, Yasmani Grandal, Mark Kolasvari, Chadwick Tromp, and Ronaldo Hernandez. That's a lot of names, and Zavala still never rose to the top of that group. This isn't some young guy with upside either. Zavala is 32 years old with 5 years of big league experience. Over that time with the Chicago White Sox, Arizona Diamondbacks, and Seattle Mariners, he's a career .205 hitter with a .613 OPS. 15 home runs total. That's the profile. And even when Arizona went all the way to the World Series in 2023, Zavala didn't make their postseason roster. So when the Los Angeles Dodgers announced he was coming in on a minor league deal as a non-roster invitee for spring training, it didn't feel like Boston lost anything. It felt like closure. The Red Sox had already moved on. They even restocked that AAA catching depth with Jason DeLay and Matt Thais in free agency. That tells you everything. Zavala just wasn't part of the plan. As a fan, this one doesn't hurt, but it does clarify things. Boston isn't clinging to familiar names anymore. If you're not producing, if you're not forcing their hand, they're willing to let you walk. Even quietly, even without drama. And that mindset, that's exactly what makes the second move so interesting. Because while one depth piece was allowed to fade out of the picture, the Red Sox aggressively stepped in and reshaped another area of the roster in a way that could impact the everyday lineup right away. That's where things start to get real. All right, now let's get into the real meat of the day. Because this second move, this one actually changes how the Red Sox might line up on opening day. Boston pulled off a 6-player trade with the Milwaukee Brewers, and the headline name coming to the Red Sox is Caleb Durban. And I'll tell you right now, as a fan watching this roster take shape, this is the kind of move that doesn't scream star power, but absolutely screams intention. The full deal matters, so let's lay it out clean. The Red Sox acquired Durban, Andrew Monasterio, Anthony Seigler, and Milwaukee's competitive balance round B draft pick. Going the other way are pitchers Kyle Harrison and Shane Drowan, plus infielder David Hamilton. All 6 were already on 40-man rosters, so no procedural gymnastics required. Now let's talk Durban, because he's the centerpiece here. He's 25 years old, turning 26 in a couple of weeks, and he just finished 3rd in National League Rookie of the Year voting. That's not nothing. Last season, he hit .256 with a .334 on base, a .387 slug, 11 homers, 25 doubles, and 18 steals. And here's the part I love. A walk rate under 6%, but a strikeout rate under 10%. That is elite contact ability in today's game. This team struck out at the 10th highest rate in baseball last year. That's been a problem. Durban is the antidote. Defensively, he held his own at third base too. 5 defensive runs saved, 2 outs above average. So yeah, he's probably penciled in at third, but he can absolutely slide to second if Boston decides Marcelo Mayer is better suited for the hot corner defensively. Either way, Durban plays every day. That's the message. He's not the middle-of-the-order masher some fans keep dreaming about, but he's affordable, controllable, 5 full seasons of club control, and exactly the kind of player that fits this front office's clear pivot toward run prevention and putting the ball in play. And don't overlook this. He's a right-handed pull hitter, and that pull rate plays perfectly off the green monster at Fenway Park. Now, once you plug Durban in, everything else starts to domino. Second base suddenly becomes a mix of Mayer and Romy Gonzalez, depending on matchups. Newly signed Isaiah Keener-Falefa backs up second, third, and shortstop, which matters a lot when you're talking about the always injured Trevor Story. Monasterio is sneaky interesting. He's 28, a switch hitter, solid against lefties, more limited against righties, but he just posted a career-best /line in limited time last year. He's also logged nearly 3,500 innings at shortstop, which gives Boston yet another safety net behind Story. And with 3 minor league option years left, there's no guarantee he even breaks camp with the big club. Anthony Seigler adds a different wrinkle. He hasn't hit much in the majors yet, but in AAA last year, he got on base over 40% of the time, stole 23 bags, and showed real plate discipline. He's been used more as an infielder than a catcher recently because of issues controlling the run game, but that versatility makes him a legitimate depth piece, even a third catcher option, with 6 seasons of control. And then there's the draft pick. That competitive balance round B selection is currently slotted 67th overall, with a bonus pool value north of $1.2 million. Boston doesn't have to spend it all there. It just gives them more flexibility in the draft. That's smart roster building. Now flip it to Milwaukee's side, and this trade feels like a setup for something else. The Brewers thinned their infield depth significantly, even with elite defenders like Joey Ortiz and Bryce Terang still around. But they gained pitching, and that's their thing. Harrison is only 24, already has over 40 big league games, and still carries upside. Drohan, despite injuries, was dominant in AAA last year, and Hamilton gives them speed and elite defense at second base, even if the bat never fully came around. For Boston, though, this trade pretty clearly rounds out the infield. With Durban and Kiner Falefa added, the pressure on Mayer to be the answer immediately is gone. He can earn it. And as a fan, I actually love that. This isn't splashy. This isn't headlines. But this is a front office building a roster with intention, lowering the strikeouts, improving defense, raising the floor. Now the question becomes, what does it all mean when you put this move next to the one we talked about earlier? That's where the bigger picture really starts to come into focus. And when you step back and connect both of these moves, that's when the picture really clears up. Letting Sebi Zavala walk without hesitation, while aggressively bringing in someone like Caleb Durban, tells you exactly where the Red Sox are right now. This front office is done stockpiling names just for the sake of depth. They're done waiting on players who might figure it out. If you don't fit the plan, if you're not producing, if you're not helping the team win in clear, tangible ways, they're moving on. Quietly, efficiently, and without nostalgia. At the same time, they're doubling down on a very specific identity. Better defense, more contact, fewer strikeouts, more versatility, more control over the roster long term. Durban isn't a superstar, but he raises the floor. He makes the lineup harder to pitch to. He makes the defense cleaner. He takes pressure off young guys like Marcelo Mayer. And when you combine that with utility pieces like Kiner Falefa, depth like Monasterio and Seigler, and the extra draft capital, you can feel the Red Sox trying to build something more stable than what we've watched the last couple of seasons. Is it perfect? No. Is it exciting in the sign a huge bat way? Not really. But is it intentional? Absolutely. And honestly, as a fan, that matters. Because the worst thing a team can be is directionless. Right now, even if you don't agree with every move, you can clearly see what they're trying to do. And that's a step forward. This feels like a decisive moment. Not a rebuild, not an all-in push, but a front office saying, this is the kind of baseball we believe in, and we're committing to it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you like this shift toward defense and contact? Do you think Durban was the right move? Or are you still waiting for that one big addition to push this team over the top? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Seriously, I read all of them. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. It helps a ton. And if you're a Red Sox fan who wants honest, real opinions from someone who actually lives and dies with this team, subscribe to Red Sox Today. The channel is brand new. We're pushing for our first 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you matters. Appreciate you. And as always, let's go Sox.